Okay, let's dive into a power move that's been a decade in the making. After years and years of pushing, China has finally gotten the green light for a new development bank inside the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO. And trust me, this is not just another bank. This could be a real tremor in the foundations of global finance.
And you really don't have to read between the lines on this one. As this statement from China's leader Xi Jinping makes perfectly clear, this isn't just about money for roads and power plants. No, this is a direct geopolitical play. It's all about building an alternative to the financial system we've all known, the one that's been led by the West for decades.
So what's really going on here? Well, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at what this new challenger is all about. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how it's structured and if it's really any different from other banks out there. After that, we'll dig into the massive hurdles it faces, and then ask the big question: can this thing actually challenge the giants of global finance?
Remember that decade-long push I mentioned? Well, it all came to a head at the recent SCO summit in Tianjin, China. That's where they made the formal announcement. So while the news feels fresh, the idea itself has been a centerpiece of Beijing's strategy for years, all aimed at one thing: creating a dedicated financial arm for the entire SCO bloc.
Okay, so we know where it came from, but what is this bank actually supposed to do? Let's pop the hood and take a look at its core mission and who's going to be driving this thing.
At its heart, the bank's whole purpose is to pump money into development projects. We're talking major infrastructure, energy grids, and trade initiatives, all happening inside SCO member countries. It's really designed to be the financial engine for the organization's brand new economic development strategy, which is set to run all the way from 2026 to 2035.
You can really boil its whole mission down to three key jobs. First up, fund all that crucial infrastructure and energy stuff. Number two, get regional trade and investment flowing between the members. And third, make sure every single project lines up with the SCO's bigger, long-term economic game plan.
Now check this out. The official language they used here is, well, it's fascinating. The declaration says only interested member states will participate. That one word, interested, is a brilliant piece of diplomacy. It basically makes joining optional. That creates this crucial flexibility that just might be the secret sauce to get more hesitant members, like India, to even consider coming on board.
Right about now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, don't we already have a whole bunch of these development banks? What makes this one so special? And that is a very fair question.
You can really see the differences when you put it side by side with its peers. For example, you've got the BRICS New Development Bank, where the founders all get equal shares. The SCO Bank's model? Still up in the air. Then there's the AIIB, where your vote depends on how much cash you put in. The SCO Bank is also different because it's laser-focused only on projects inside its own member countries.
And let me tell you, this is a huge upgrade from what the SCO had before. Since 2005, they've had this thing called an interbank consortium, but honestly, it was just a loose platform for countries to coordinate. It had no shared pot of money, no ability to actually lend anything on its own. The new development bank, it's a whole different animal, a proper, full-fledged bank with its own capital, ready to write the checks itself.
But look, just because it's been approved on paper doesn't mean it's a done deal. Not even close. There are some massive, massive questions and some pretty big hurdles that all the members have to figure out before this bank is actually up and running. First and foremost, let's talk about the money. How much will this bank have? The BRICS Bank, for comparison, started with an authorized capital of $100 billion. Is the SCO going to aim for something similar? How much of that will be cash in the bank versus just promised money? These are the fundamental questions they have to answer.
And then there's the question that always comes up: power. Who's going to be in charge here? How will control be divided? Are we talking one country, one vote? Or will it be a weighted system like the AIIB, where China, has the biggest say? The answer to this could literally make or break the whole thing.
And all of that brings us straight to India. As the second biggest shareholder and the #1 borrower from the AIIB, India knows how to play this game. So its decision to join and just how involved it gets is almost certainly going to depend on the answers to those questions about money, about governance, and about what kind of safeguards are in place.
And beyond all the internal stuff, there are some major geopolitical landmines. The bank's push to trade in local currencies, that's a direct shot at the US dollar's dominance, and it could easily trigger sanctions from the West. And that's not even getting into the deep-seated rivalries inside the group, like India versus China or India versus Pakistan, that could paralyze the bank from the inside out.
All right, let's get to the final and frankly, the biggest question of all. Can this new bank really, truly challenge the titans of global finance, the World Bank and the IMF?
Now, to answer that, we have to get one thing straight. They're not all designed to do the same job. The World Bank is all about long-term loans for big development projects. The IMF, on the other hand, is more like an economic firefighter. It provides short-term emergency loans to stop economies from collapsing during a crisis.
So, right off the bat, the SCO Bank is not trying to do the IMF's job. Its role is much closer to the World Bank or the AIIB, and its real strategic goal isn't to replace these institutions head-on, it's to reduce how much its members have to rely on them. It's about offering another option, another place to get funding, and slowly chipping away at the West's financial dominance.
But we have to talk about scale. Just to put things in perspective, the International Monetary Fund has a lending capacity of around $1 trillion. That's the kind of firepower we're talking about at the top. The new SCO Bank's starting capital? It's going to be a tiny, tiny fraction of that. And it's not just about the money. It doesn't have the decades of technical know-how, the global staff, or the international legitimacy that the World Bank and IMF has spent years building. It's just not in the same league, at least not yet.
So it really all boils down to this. The SCO Development Bank is a huge signal of ambition. It's a clear move toward a more multipolar financial world. But the ultimate question is still hanging in the air. With powerful but often rivalrous members like China and India sitting at the same table, can this new bank actually overcome its internal divisions and its financial limits to become a real force in reshaping global finance? That, my friends, is the billion or maybe even trillion-dollar question.